Good evening and welcome to Eastern Florida State College's Bachelor's Degree Information Session. My name is Vianney Mendoza-Toole. I am the Enrollment and Transition Specialist for the Bachelor program here at EFSC. We are so glad you can join us this evening, and we're excited to introduce you to some of our amazing faculty and staff members who will be joining us for this session. First, I'd like to introduce Professor Andrew Lieb, who is the college-wide chair for our Career and Technical Business and Applied Technology programs. He will be presenting in just a few minutes. Also, I'd like to introduce Katie Fiorina, who is our Bachelor Advisor at the Palm Bay campus. She will be available during the session to answer questions in the Q&A chat tab and at the end of the information session. I also want to mention that the session is being recorded and there are other staff members behind the scenes that will be assisting with this session. So without further ado, let's get started. During tonight's information session, we're going to give you an overview of our bachelor's degree programs that we offer here at EFSC. Following that, we will have our faculty presentation, which will give you an overview of our BAS in Organizational Management degree. After the presentation, we'll cover enrollment and admission steps for the bachelor program. And finally, there will be a question and answer session with our presenter and advisor. Since the chat is off for this meeting, as well as your cameras and microphones, we invite you to ask questions anytime during the session using the Q&A tab at the top of your screen. If you did not register for the session, you might not have this feature available to you, but we'll have contact information for you at the end of the session, which you can use to ask questions after. Before the presentation, I do want to start by giving some brief history and an overview of our bachelor degree program here at Eastern Florida State College. Eastern Florida State College began offering bachelor's degrees in 2013, and these degrees directly relate to the in-demand careers in our area. These careers were identified from a state list of targeted sectors where job growth was expected, with an emphasis on high wage and high need jobs. Eastern Florida is recognized as one of America's top state colleges for quality instruction, innovation, and cutting edge programs. Since the start of our bachelor's program, we've had over 3,700 bachelor degree graduates. Our bachelor degree program here at EFSC is designed to fit both traditional students and working adults. Currently, we offer 28 specializations to choose from, but we are constantly looking for ways to adapt and better our degrees and specializations. To find out more about our bachelor programs, please visit our website, easternflorida.edu/go/bachelors. So why should you consider pursuing a bachelor's degree at Eastern Florida State College? Well, our standards and accreditation are on par with those of state universities. At Eastern Florida, earning a bachelor's degree is convenient and affordable. We offer local options for students, allowing them to stay close to home, and it makes it easier for working students to continue their education while managing their day-to-day life. We offer small class sizes that are limited to 25 to 30 students. This allows for more personalized learning and instruction. There is also an automatic acceptance into most of our programs upon completion of the program admission requirement. We offer courses on all 4 of our campuses with in-person, hybrid, online, and high flex format options available, depending on the degree. Hybrid courses are a combination of online and in-person attendance, while high flex is a new live online lecture style course that allows students to participate virtually in real time. During each semester, we also offer multiple term lengths to best suit our students' needs. And there is financial aid and scholarships available that can help cover your tuition expenses if you qualify, like our Titan scholarships, which are a form of financial aid, and last year awarded over $1 million in scholarships to our students. Here at Eastern Florida State, we offer 5 bachelor degrees, 3 Bachelor of Applied Science degrees, which are Applied Health Sciences, Computer Information Systems Technology, and Organizational Management. We also offer a Nursing RN to BSN degree, as well as a Science Teacher Education Bachelor of Science degree. All of our bachelor degrees have a combined total of 28 specializations. So what is a specialization? It is a track that offers unique classes and curricula to meet your specific career and academic goals within a degree. An example of this would be, I have a bachelor's degree in organizational management with a specialization in public administration. Here's the list of the bachelor degree specializations that we offer here at Eastern Florida State College. You can also learn more specific information like the course curriculum, course delivery methods, and estimated costs for each specialization on our website under the corresponding degree. Coming up next, we are delighted to present an overview of our BAS and Organizational Management degree led by Professor Andrew Lieb. Professor Andrew Lieb serves as the college-wide academic chair for EFSC's career and technical programs in business and applied technology. Thank you very much for being here, Professor Lieb, and I'll let you take it from here.
Great. I hope everybody's having a good evening, and thank you for coming out to learn a little bit more about the programs. As Fiani said, I'm the college-wide chair, which means I'm in charge of all the programs, the faculty, the scheduling, essentially trying to make sure you guys have every opportunity to do great here, both at the college and help you guys transition to new careers, new jobs, and all that fun stuff. The one thing that we're looking at today in particular is just organizational management. The organizational management is our oldest bachelor's program here at the college, which did start back, as Fiani said, back in 2013. And it has the most specializations right now at 12. It has everything spanning from accounting and banking and finance to public safety to even allied health. It has a little bit of something for everybody. What's made it kind of successful, as you'll see in a little bit, is looking at some of the core courses and the way we've been able to link all these different specializations together. Right here, where they start talking about these different areas, the main thing with specializations to think about it is, if you were to talk about, for example, a master's in business administration, you can get a traditional master's in business administration or MBA, but many times you'll have a major within it. So it might be an MBA in accounting or an MBA in advertising or marketing. We tried to mirror the same kind of practice when we developed the program here at the college. So that's why if you'll see on the slide here where it talks about all these different areas we cover, by creating this core course or core concepts, it allows us to span a lot of different areas and hopefully help you guys find your niche and the place that you really belong in the career that you really want. The way the program is comprised is that we've combined both undergraduate courses, which is what we call a 3,000 or 4,000 level course, as well as AS level courses, which are 1,000 and 2,000 level courses. The reason we've combined in this way is to make it easier for you to transition from an associate in science degree at the college, because we do offer plenty of those in business, everything from business administration to accounting, technology, to entrepreneurship, to marketing, to all these different areas. So we wanted to make sure that students would be able to transition and use those courseworks that they've gained, those fundamentals, and make sure they now can apply them at a higher level. So if you look on the slide there, you'll see that it takes 60 credits for that AAAS degree. Then there's an additional 21 credits of lower level business courses. Those are those courses that if you didn't get a chance to take either in your AA or your AS, you now have an opportunity to take, so you can kind of spread out and learn a little bit more of what area you want to be. This is why many of our students start off in the general specialization, which is really kind of the landing spot to where it's like, okay, I'm still kind of poking around. I want to see if I can figure out a little bit more and trying to understand. And then we see you switch over to those specialization courses. The core courses that you see listed there are those courses that are similar between all of the programs under the organizational management. And if we look there, that's them there. So you can see that you get kind of a strong foundation in all different aspects of business and management. Everything from organizational behavior, which is a study of how an organization actually thrives and operates, the different moving parts, looking at human capital aspects of it, as well as what works within a system. Accounting for managers, because it's important to have at least the basic understanding of how the accounting process works, no matter what area you're going into, because if you're going into business, chances are we hope that you're going to be dealing with money. That tends to be normally what we go for. Same with human resources management or management leadership, because despite what many believe, management and leadership are actually two very different things. management and leadership. One deals with the way that you inspire and help organize and develop people. The other deals with managerial or more like administrative duties, for example. Some examples of those, again, accounting for managers here. Another one is as managerial economics, because this is another kind of area we notice that it's really helpful for students to kind of gain a practical understanding, or when we speak with our advisory board, which is what we base a lot of these courses on. And our advisory board is comprised of industry partners, everybody from community educators to private industry, a lot of different area aspects. So dealing with Port Canaveral Authority is another one that we deal with, to make sure that we're preparing you guys for the jobs that are out there now. So one area they identified was making sure folks at least understood the basic aspects of economics, so that when we start looking, at profit and loss, we start figuring out, okay, what's the impact of this going to be on not only our economy within the organization, but also around us, how might it affect us? Here you'll see all the different specialization courses. And one thing we recently started doing as well is, let's say you end up majoring in or using specialization for sales and marketing, but you really wanted to take a hospitality course as well. So remember there's 21 hours of lower division courses. You're also able to take some of these upper division courses to meet those lower level requirements as well. So that way you could still take all of those marketing great courses, but then maybe throw in there a tourism and management class because you really were interested and you want to just get a little bit more understanding of it. Now, the best part of this program, in my opinion, is this slide right here. If you start looking at the cost overall of this program, you'll see that it's under $8,000. And we're barely over $7,000. If you're to take a comparable bachelor's degree in most of the state universities, their credit per credit hour cost is about $340, I believe. We'll have to double check that math. Bianna, you might know off the top of your head, or Katie. But when we start looking at the math of just, they're essentially charging triple what we're charging per credit hour. So you not only get to meet, your degree, desires, but you do it in an affordable way. We've also created some partnerships with like Florida Institute of Technology, where you can do a direct connect between our Bachelor of Applied Science and the FAT's MBA program as well, which many students have taken advantage of and actually come back and taught with us too. So I hope you can kind of see in this brief, tiny little snapshot that I've given, really how organizational management works, how these courses exist, what they're here to do. I will say the main thing when you think of organizational management is, all right, I want to go out and I want to make a difference in it, either in my current job, I want to get promoted, I want to start a business, I want to find a way to impact my community. We try to address all of those needs here with this program. So hopefully you get a little bit of idea from this, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more in a bit. And otherwise, thank you for listening. And Vianney, I'll hand it back off to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Lee, for your presentation. And I hope you all found this presentation helpful. Professor Lee will be available at the end of the session to answer any additional questions that you have. Again, for those of you that joined later, I did want to mention that since the chat, your cameras and the microphones are off for this meeting, you can ask your questions in the Q&A tab at the top of your screen. If you haven't registered for this session, you might not be able to use the feature, but we do have contact information at the end of the session where you can reach out to us with any questions or for more information. Now I'm going to transition and cover the bachelor's program enrollment and admission process. As mentioned before by Professor Lee, for our lower level tuition rate here at EFSC, it's $104 per credit, while our upper level division rate is $128.51 per credit hour. This makes the average cost for a bachelor's degree, that's including all the degrees combined, an average. From EFSC, it's around $7,700 in comparison to these other schools. And like he said, their credit hours have gone up from these numbers that are on the slide. So yeah, it's roughly about $300 per credit hour. Many of our students do receive financial aid to cover their tuition, like our Titan scholarships, which as mentioned before, last year in 2023, they did award over $1 million in scholarships to EFSC students. So you are eligible to apply for our bachelor's program if you already have an AA or an AS degree. Also, if you're in the process of completing an AA or an AS, you can apply within 1 semester of your graduation. Also, it's not on here, but if you already have a bachelor's degree, you're also eligible to apply for our program. Let's discuss how you can apply for our program. So you can apply online at easternflorida.edu. On the right-hand side of the main page, there's a green box that looks like this. You'll want to select apply and fill out that registration. There is a $30 application fee for non-EFSC students, which will be waived for anyone who attended this event tonight. The information for that, we'll give it at the end of the session. Following the application fee, your next steps would be submitting any non-EFSC transcripts to EFSC. Then you'll receive an acceptance letter with instructions on your next step, which will include online orientation, waiting for non-EFSC transcript review, submitting your Florida residency, and applying for financial aid. Once those steps are complete, you will be able to schedule an appointment and meet with one of our skilled advisors. This will allow you to register for courses, and fall registration for 2024 does begin on May 6th, so don't delay if you're interested in starting in fall. We're going to get into our Q&A section now with Professor Andrew Lee and our Bachelor Advisor, Katie Farina. They are here to answer your questions, and you can ask them using the Q&A chat box. I'll be reading them out for them to answer. And if you didn't register for this session, again, you probably won't be able to use the features. And this is something through Teams, but we will have contact information so you can reach out to us and we can forward your questions to the appropriate person. I do see one question. So are all the business bachelor programs BAS or are there some BAA?
We currently do not offer any Bachelor of Arts. The BAS stands for Bachelors of Applied Science, except for our nursing transition program, which is a BSN, and then our Bachelor of Science for Education, but the others are all Bachelors of Applied Science, yes. Perfect.
And while we wait for some other questions to come in, as I mentioned before, there is a code that will waive your application fee if you are not already currently an EFSC student. That will be pinned into the discussion post for you to use. If you registered for the session, you will receive the code via email. If not, there is an email address at the end of the session, which you can use to contact us and request that information be sent to you.
Vianney, I also want to mention that the Titan Scholarship Portal is open from now until May 18th.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Debbie. So if you want to apply for the Titan Scholarship, again, last year they awarded over $1 million to EFSC students. So if you qualify, you might as well apply. So Crystal asked another question. Will an MBA program accept a BAS? For example, UCA MBA program.
So from my experience, yes, we have had students continue on to UCF for an MBA, but as Vianney was mentioning, Professor Lee was mentioning, we do have a direct connect kind of sorts with FIT, where students who have appropriate GPA levels can, while in their bachelor's degree, take 2 graduate courses at FIT, basically allowing you to get a head start on your master's program, keeping in mind that master's programs are only about 10 classes long. So that 2-class head starts makes a big difference for folks.
Thank you, Katie. If anybody has any other questions, we'll give you a few minutes. We do have another question. Hello, so I am a transfer student and just graduated December 2023. I'm looking forward to start this fall. My question is, how long will it take to complete this degree? I'm leaning toward the sales and marketing.
That's a really good question, Jennifer. So how long it takes you to earn the degree is really up to you. There's a couple components to it. So it depends on what you're coming into the degree with. So AA versus AS, but traditionally, if you've had completed, that 2-year degree, you're looking at about 2 more years full time. Now, if you don't go full time, of course, that 2 years becomes a little bit longer. But in bachelor's advising, once you're accepted into the program and you do sit down with your advisor, part of that first meeting is to go ahead and to create with you a semester by semester guide, so we can customize it to how quickly or how slow you want to go through this program. So it's a great question, but there's not one answer for it. It really depends on each individual student, which is why we allocate an hour to meet with you guys when you're first entering the program.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just to piggyback off that too, I do want to stress the importance of, following those plans. We do use those when I'm creating the schedule. I usually meet with Katie or one of the other bachelor's advisors to talk about it, to make sure we're offering the courses at the right times, the right semesters. And as Katie, so if you're following your plan, or if you need to adjust your plan, make sure you're doing that with your advisor to keep them in the loop so they can help keep me in the loop. Part of it too is that you can also take a decent, and we try to offer them in a lot of different parts of term. So you might see 8-week courses, or in the summers, something short as a 6-week course, to try and help you guys speed up, because we know sometimes some of the courses you're like, I want to knock out 3-4 courses this summer, which puts you that can speed up or accelerate your graduation pretty quick.
Perfect. Thank you both. I do have another question from Heather. How do the major and minors work for the bachelor's program?
So the way that we do that is everybody will be receiving an organizational management degree, and then the specialization is what your area, your concentration is. But overall, it is an organizational management degree. As far as minors, we do not require a traditional minor like you would see at Florida State or UCF. For example, you might major in math, minor in physics, or something like that. We don't have that requirement. Our focus is really on trying to make sure that you're job ready, you're coming out here and you got employment lined up, or you're able to get promoted in your current employment.
Perfect, thank you. It seems, since we don't seem to have any further questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. So I know we've given you a lot of information tonight that was hopefully inspired you to pursue a bachelor's degree here at Eastern Florida State College. Oh, just kidding. We do have another question. So it would be called a bachelor's degree in organizational management, specializing in sales and marketing. This is from Jennifer.
Correct.
So if anyone has any further questions, you can always, again, we have the contact information listed here on the screen. You can send us an email or call us with any additional questions, and we can forward them either to our one of our bachelor advisors, or to Professor Andrew Lee. So I hope we were able to answer your questions. Again, if not, don't hesitate in reaching out to us. We're here to help you and we want you to succeed. As I did mention, the individuals that need to, I did want to mention that there are many steps and individuals that are needed to coordinate and execute these events. So a heartfelt thank you to everyone that contributed with this event. And a special thank you to our presenter, Professor Andrew Lieb, and our bachelor advisor, Katie, as well as all of those who work diligently behind the scenes, Debbie. Your efforts are truly appreciated. For our viewers, we're so glad you could join us. We look forward to seeing you online or on campus as one of our bachelor students. Thank you all, and I hope you all have a great evening.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.